Hello and welcome to the Voracious Reader. Today we're talking about A Natural History of the Senses by Diane Ackerman. Wow, what a cool book is this. Okay, so we all know we have our five senses: sight, touch, taste, hearing, smell, what have you. And you've heard people in anger or frustration say things like, "Oh, have you lost your senses?" Or, "Oh, come on now, you really need to come to your senses." Or maybe some of you have done the Myers-Briggs type personality indicator or some other typically workplace personality, what makes you tick kind of assessment. And there are often those identified who kind of live in their heads or their imagination. They're maybe more intuitive or more visionaries. And then there's the very hardcore day-to-day sensing people, typically your accountants, scientists who are very much into the facts and what we sense. Somehow Diane Ackerman is able to put that all together in a way that it has the beauty of the art and the intuition in the imaginary realm with the reality of what you're really sensing. And she somehow can get the reader to take notice of a sensation in such a way that it evokes that more artful, literary, poetic kind of realm. It's actually quite a skill to be able to put those two together. So she has a chapter on touch, a chapter on vision, a chapter on hearing, etc. She does some nice analysis and sharing of Helen Keller and her experiences as needing to rely on touch as a huge sense. And she brings in scientific things about how the neurons in your head operate in response to what you're tasting and feeling, but she also pulls in the emotional component. So it's a really, really rich need. It's really very cool. And I want to share with you something from her introduction that just is so just beautiful. I'll just share it. You can decide for yourself. And if this is a book you would like to read, it is A Natural History of the Senses by Diane Ackerman. And if it's not something you're going to read, then I'll just share a little summary of what I think you should take out of it, okay? Starting with this little bit from her introduction. We need to return to feeling the textures of life. Much of our experience in 20th century America is in an effort to get away from those textures. How many times do we distract ourselves? You know, we turn on the radio or we turn up the volume to cut out other people. We're distracting ourselves from what we're sensing because we're maybe uncomfortable with what we're sensing, or we're feeling a feeling we don't like or don't want to that scares us. We like to think that we're, I'm quoting her again, finely evolved creatures in a suit and tie or pantyhose kind of a world, who live many millennia in mental detours away from the cave, our ancestors, the cavemen. But it's not so. The amygdala, the most core center of your brain, the reptilian brain, remembers all those caveman days our ancestors had. But it's not something our bodies are convinced of. So we may think we're evolved, but that amygdala in our brain knows that we're animals. We're primitive animals with an advanced consciousness as well, but our sensations, what we feel, touch, smell, is linked to chemical reactions in our body, and neurons are firing and things are happening because we are primitive animals. So we're still jockeying for position and power. We still create works of art to enhance our senses and add even more sensations to the brimming world so that we can utterly luxuriate in the spectacles of life. So you can see how she just has a language that's rich and enjoyable to read for the poets out there, but she's got a scientific basis that's truly fascinating for all you scientists out there. So if you choose to read it, go for it. If you choose not to, I'll tell you the key thing I got out of it was really to stop and pay attention to my five senses, because how much of a day goes by without me noticing a wonderful aroma or taking in, a sunset. You thought I was going to say sunset, didn't you? No, the lines in my hand. Wow. Or listening, truly listening. When's the last time you heard silence without the hum of a computer or a refrigerator or a vehicle or whatever? Touch. Touch. Oh, those of you who are moms who have kids, I know you relate to touch. Or if you're a pet owner and you pet your dog or your cat, the touch. Pay attention to your senses. Know that there's both scientific and poetic value behind them. Enjoy them both. Thanks for tuning in today's Voracious Reader. I'll be sharing more books with you soon. Create a great day.